Great to be in the Midlands. What you got?
What was your kickoff event like last night?
Awesome. Really, we had a great crowd. What a beautiful facility they have there in North Augusta. Really impressed with that. And obviously, the Gamecocks winning always helps. So we had a great night. A lot of fun. Good job of combining the Augusta and Aiken clubs. That was awesome.
Have you guys looked at what kind of NFL talent needs to be on a roster to compete in the SEC? You mentioned yesterday a little bit about numbers and the 15 from that stretch in the 2000s to what you inherited.
Well, I think that again, I think we're getting much closer to that situation, and I think that we'll see how tomorrow night goes. But I think probably the next year's class will be indicative of what we've done from a recruiting standpoint and a development standpoint,
right?
Of where we are and how we continue to close that gap.
How important is it to recruits? How much do recruits ask you about that development and preparation process?
I do think that that part of it is important. And I think that our staff has a very impressive track record as far as guys being developed and getting drafted, guys that have been recruited and identified, in that process. And so, that's something we're very proud of. We're looking forward to establishing that here at University of South Carolina. And so those are things to me that I think are critical to recruits. And I think the track record our staff has is pretty outstanding.
What kind of goes on?
Follow the draft. Can you keep up with your guys? Maybe
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I think their next step is really important to these guys, and appreciate all their contributions here at South Carolina, and they're some of the best, and you certainly always be a part of our program.
Are you getting any feedback from the scouts about maybe there's a player that will be drafted that might be going a little bit higher than maybe he's projected? Because Debo's probably going to be the first. But
well, I think that the guy that you keep hearing about is Debo. He keeps climbing up the ladder, so to speak, because of the interviews and how well he does, and his personality and his football intelligence when he's able to talk and visit with the people that make the decisions in the draft. That's something that has been good to see.
What kind of goes on a big recruiting weekend like you guys have coming up, and how important are those to kind of building your next class?
Well, it's all about relationships. It's another opportunity, and this weekend for us is a little different. We do a lot more on campus than we do around our football facility. To be able to see our beautiful campus, and that sometimes when they come on a game day atmosphere, they don't necessarily get to see that. And we've got a great campus, and it's it's really a good weekend for us just to continue to build the relationships in the recruiting process.
You have a lot of depth at wide receiver. Based on what you saw from Jay in the spring game, is it reasonable to think he can compete for a spot?
Sure. I mean, he's a good athlete. He runs extremely well. He's got some good size and girth. He's a willing blocker, and got to continue to work on catching the football in traffic and those sort of things. And again, there's in any new position, there's a lot of nuances that you need to learn and get to be accustomed to and doing. So, and I know one thing: he's going to work at it. I have no doubt about that. And God's blessed him with some ability. He needs to help our football team, and certainly we felt like just looking at the team, I need to get the best guys on the field, and he certainly can contribute for us as a receiver, and we feel like he can contribute for us as special teams.
some coaches enjoy this. Some people feel like it's going to the dentist. These kind of events here.
Yeah.
Where do you come in?
I love it. I love our fan base and how passionate and loyal they are. I go back to our first season. We weren't a very good football team, and our fan base made a difference for us here at Williams-Brice and the following that we had going on the road. And I really appreciate them. It's important for me to be here.
Is this a tricky time of year in terms of managing quarterbacks, where a lot of quarterbacks will come to the end of spring and maybe project too far out and think about moving on and that kind of thing? Is it a tricky time to sort of keep those guys' heads sort of still in this program almost?
Our guys are here.
But considering how it seems the culture of quarterbacks is
Well, the quarterback position is just different, Ben, because there's only one. It's not like you can get in a 3-receiver set and a 4-receiver set and get in 5 receivers. I mean, you got one guy that's going to play. He's going to take the snap, and so generally when you're not that guy, and again, I get a little frustrated sometimes in the transfer situations because everyone transfers for a different reason. It's not all the same reason. It's not all about playing time. It's maybe comfort. It's away from home. There may be some personal things that someone's going through. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons. So you can't blanket one transfer into all one thing. It's not all one thing. But the quarterback position is very different from all the others because there's generally, in most situations, they're not able to be like a Jay Urick who can go play another position and contribute to your football team. That's what they do, and that's what they've grown up wanting to do. So when that situation doesn't present itself, they look for a greener pasture.
Well, how limited is Levante Valentine and what he can do as a football player from strength and conditioning because he does run track? Is there some
No, I
limitations?
think no, there's no limitations at all. He's got to obviously get in the weight room because there's a different thought process as far as the track conditioning is concerned in the football and the physicality you deal with in the football field. So once he gets done with the track season, which he's had a really good year, we'll get him in the weight room and get him working. So he'll be here all of May running track. He won't finish that until I think the second week in June, I believe, and then he'll be with us full time.
Do you know how much he was able to meet with Coach Brown at all during this month?
Yeah, Levante made every effort he could between practices, between days that we were off, and time when he was away from track and academics to be able to come over and meet. So absolutely, as far as that's concerned, he should be caught up pretty well.
How much will Zach Bailey's versatility help him this weekend? And is that the trait that sets him apart from other offensive linemen?
Well, Zach's a mauler. He's a big guy and he gets his hands on people. He's a guy that can play inside. He's also a guy that can play center if you need be, but he also played tackle for us 2 years ago. So the position multiplicity, because when you're on a 53-man roster and when you're able to play multiple spots, it certainly helps you. That's a huge part of that process in the National Football League.
Coming out of spring, where do you feel Hank Manos is?
Was that?
Coming out of spring, where do you feel Hank Manos is? Is he where you'd like him to be? Kind of what is his status and progress?
Well, I thought when he was on the field this spring, unfortunately he got rolled up on pretty good one day. But I thought he played well at the center position. He started the bowl game for us and didn't blink, and he played well in the bowl game for us. And so again, I think he's a guy that continues to progress and work. He's got the right kind of mentality and work ethic and the right kind of edge that we want on our offensive line. So I'm very pleased with his progress.
What was Ernest able to show you this spring?
Well, I think when TJ's out, one man's misfortune is another man's opportunity. To have Ernest in there and be able to make the calls at the mic position, I think it helped both Sherrod and Ernest in a lot of situations. For those guys to be able to have to make the calls, to have that responsibility, and certainly help them learn about what everybody else has to do and direct the traffic and direct our defense. Because we do put a lot on our mic linebacker as far as the communication is concerned and setting our defense.
Cam Smith, is he going to be academically eligible to play?
Yeah, he's
what is it like to have someone like that on campus?
Well, we're excited about getting Cam. He'll enroll in school, I believe, May 13th. Yeah, he's ready to go, and we're excited to have him on campus. Wish we'd had him this spring. And again, there was nothing that had anything to do with Cam or University of South Carolina. Just a situation that you had to deal with.
Is he in that situation? Obviously, he's a little bit behind, but how much can he make up once he gets here?
Well, he's bright. At the end of the day, we've had a bunch of guys that didn't go through spring practice that came in the summer and started for us game one. So that, at the end of the day, he'll have every opportunity in the world to step on the field. And obviously, with our situation, we think we're extremely talented in the secondary, but we are a little thin. And those 5 guys that we're bringing in need to be able to play.
Any of those Florida guys still your recruits in this draft class?
Kerry Clark, I believe. Trying to think. Started recruiting a bunch of them, but didn't finish it. But I think Kerry might be the only guy. I think he's about it.
Thanks, Will.